G'day class. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Adobe Illustrator so we can set up our amplifier design and get it laser cut. Now first thing you want to do is you want to go into OneNote and find your name and scroll down until you get the Amplifier Illustrator box template page. Okay, you need to make sure that you've got Adobe Illustrator on your laptop. And all you got to do is right click on this and you can just save it wherever you like. So I'm just going to put mine on my desktop so it's easy to find. Next thing you want to do once you've saved it, okay, this is Adobe Illustrator here. Now you just go File, Open, Year 10 box template. Okay, and it takes you to this. Now what you're looking at here is the pieces of our box. Okay, so you've got your side pieces here, this is like your bottom and your top, and then your two end pieces. Okay, close that. Now this is the same size box that I used for mine. If you want to make your own design, then it's a little bit trickier. You'll have to sort of edit all these lines and create different sizes. It is easy enough to do, but I might have to do another video showing how to do that. What you want to do now is you need to decide obviously which pieces are what part. So say you decide that this is the top or the front, let's say, and you're going to want to put in your holes for your speaker and your volume and everything like that. So a couple of different buttons to look at. These are your selection buttons. Okay, the black arrow will select everything, whereas your white arrow will just sort of select one certain line. So that's just how those two work. Here you've got your text tool, so you can, if you've used Photoshop before, very similar. You can just sort of click in here and write whatever you want. Up here your font choices and your size and everything like that. So there's some more options, and that'll get etched into your box. So if you want, yeah, so you could, for instance, you could write volume, and then come down to this tool here. See how it says rectangle tool? If you click and hold, you can get the ellipse tool, okay, and that will give you different size circles. What you can do is hold down the shift key, and then you get a nice round circle. Okay, so this is just an example. You could do something like that. You want to have no fill, and you'll want to change the stroke as well. So you double click that and make sure it's FF40. Okay, I'll explain why later. And then say you could move that there, and then that'll let you know that that's the volume button, for instance. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I'm just as an example. Other ideas, you can bring in pictures. Okay, I know a few of you want to do that. Probably the best way to do that would just be go to a file, new, do a new document. It doesn't really matter what you select. Probably just go web, common. I would just change this to millimeters. Make sure you're in RGB. Press create. That gives you a new window to work with. Then go on Google, whatever. You can either, there's two ways of doing this. I can just right click copy image, and then press Control V and paste it in. Alright, that's one way. Or what you do, right click, save that image as, okay, which I've already done. I've saved it to my desktop. And then what you can do is go File, Open. Alright, click on your file, and then you get a little bit of a cleaner one. It's a little bit more detailed. Alright. What you might want to do then is you can press Control X. That's cut. come over to here, press Control V. Now you've got your picture. Now, just like anything, you can grab from a corner to scale it, hold down Shift and it keeps it perfectly in proportion. Okay, and you might decide, you know, that that's going here, and obviously you can rotate it. You hold Shift and it gives you 45 degrees and 90, etc. Or you don't hold Shift and you can kind of make it, you know, however you like. You know, if you want to get a little bit artistic or whatever, I don't know. Okay, so that goes in like that. Important to make sure that it has been embedded. Okay, so mine says unembed, so that means it's already been loaded in the document. Let's say if that said embed and then you sent the file to me without it embedded, then I can't actually see it on my laptop. So make sure that's unembedded, or it says unembedded, and you should be good to go. Remember that the laser cutter obviously can't laser colors. Okay, so if you've got a color image, you have to imagine that it's been converted to black and white, because that's sort of how it'll look on the plywood when we laser cut. One way to sort of get an idea of how that looks is to click on Image Trace, and because I've used a black and white image, it's worked out okay. I might quickly, maybe I'll grab the Crows logo, even though I do not like them. Grab the Crows logo here, and just to show you what happens, save image as, yeah, that's fine. Go here, if we go File, Open, Crows logo, Control X, Control V. Okay. If I was to now image trace it, you can see it goes black and white. Now what you can do is you go over to this little button here, Image Trace Panel, move it out the way, and this threshold you can change. Alright, so it adds, there you go, so you can start adding more white to the picture, or you go the other way and it just goes completely black. Alright, so you might want to find, you know, the perfect sort of blend, say something like that. Okay, we'll go something funky like that. You know, it's up to you. Then that's going to look a little bit more clear when it gets laser cut. Alright, so that's your basic bringing in pictures. Remember that you've got all your different shapes here. Okay, if you want to draw stars in there, if you want to do some rectangles, you can. Rounded, ellipse is basically a circle when you hold Shift. Polygon, so you can, for that you just sort of can set different polygon shapes. If I delete that and just click once, I can choose how many sides. So if I want a triangle, okay, I just do 3, and then that gives me a triangle. Okay, let's delete that. Now remember, you'll need a hole for your volume, your auxiliary, a speaker, the switch itself, and the LED. Okay, and you'll need to have those measurements. So that's the next thing you need to know. If you click on this circle here, come over to Transform. Alright, it starts to give you some sizes. Okay, so now you can actually get your holes precise, which is what you'll need to do so that the components fit correctly. Okay, so X and Y is position of the on the document. Okay, so if you wanted to get that accurately in position, you could. Okay, so if you want, say, Y to be 150, if you look over here, when I press enter, alright, it changes its position. Okay, you can always drag it. But the width and height here, okay, this is where you can change things up. Alright, whoops. Make sure that when you do this, these are locked in together. And click that, make that 15. Okay, now when I lock these, I can change this and it'll keep both these measurements locked so it stays a nice circle. Alright, so that's something to be aware of. Okay, just up here at the transform panel, you can change the different sizes. Another thing you need to know, I guess, when we are laser cutting, anything in red, the laser cutter will cut all the way through, but before it does that, you actually need to have the stroke rate, it has to be 0.001. Okay, now I didn't do that automatically for you because, as you can see, it's quite hard to see the lines once you do that. So once you've sort of got everything in position, you can click on the path here, click select, same, go stroke color, and that's going to select everything that's red. Okay, go into the stroke here, 0.001. Alright, so it's a bit fainter, but you need to do that so that the laser cutter can see what's going on. Alright, so you do that at the end. Okay, so once you've got all that information, you basically go File, Save As, and just make sure it's an AI file. Okay, and then basically send that to me and we can laser cut it. And as far as any other tools or things that you need to know, you got your text there, different shapes, lines, arcs, okay, spirals. You might want to have a play around with them, but for this task, that's probably the basic knowledge that you need. Over here, okay, so this box here is your fill. Okay, so that's the color that that'll be filled in with. If you imagine like the paint bucket tool, okay, the fill. The stroke is the outline. So if you draw a square and it's got a red fill and a blue stroke, then what you'll get, okay, I'll do an example, is when you draw a square, okay, if you have a look, okay, red fill and blue stroke line. Okay, so always remember that if it's not working correctly, and remember whatever you want to be cut, okay, by the laser cutter, to be actually cut out, that stroke has to be 0.001. Alright, and I reckon that's probably enough information to get you started. Remember, with these holes that we're cutting out, you'll want to get it spot on, so go back, measure your components, and make sure you're right. If any other questions, you can come and see me, but hopefully this video has given you enough information to get you started. Okay.